Films, HBO, Hard Knocks, Detroit.
There's so many characters, I think, especially with this team, and just so many names and faces that we want to get on camera.
Right. Is it cooler to tell this like upstart story? Are you guys happy with that?
Yeah, people might think, this, and this on the outside, but in the inside, like, there are leaders there. They are building something good.
What do you think of Aiden Hutchinson?
I'm just amazed by his motor. He goes.
We are joined by Pat Harris right now, Assistant Director for NFL Films, HBO, Hard Knocks, Detroit. Thank you for joining us once again. Last week you joined us, had a great conversation. Hard Knocks dropped last night at 10 o'clock. We do a little post recap here. And the one question I got to ask is, how do you pick these storylines? Because one guy that we've all been questioning why he hasn't gotten a little bit more shine on Hard Knocks is Jeff Okudah, just because of the storylines he's had here locally in Detroit. Is that something we can look forward to? Do you not want to let the cat out the bag? But how do you pick the storylines?
Hi, Pat.
Hey, thanks for having me back on, guys. Storylines it's all kind of fluid. We come in and sometimes it's backstory, like somebody like Jeff, or it's personality, where somebody like Malcolm Rodriguez, I don't think we came in expecting to have him be a character, but his personality, anytime you're doing stuff in front of the team, dancing like he did, that kind of jumps out to us. So it's all, as we find, and almost the directors out here, there's so many characters, I think, especially with this team, and just so many names and faces that we want to get on camera, that sometimes it's hard, it's impossible, to tell a story with so many good coaches, with Dan Campbell, that it makes it challenging to, introduce as many guys as we'd like. But it just kind of depends on the circumstance and just kind of what unfolds in training camp that might make a guy, memorable.
Pat Harris joins us, NFL Films, HBO's Hard Knocks here in Detroit. I loved last night's episode. I liked it better than the first episode. I thought it flew by. I really loved the storylines. And now you get to switch venues. You're in Indianapolis, and I know the players kind of need a change once in a while. How about you guys? Is that a pain in the neck for you guys, or are you used to this?
It's always nice to get a new place to call home for a few days. It was definitely, first practice was a little bit of a fire drill, just getting new faces, new lay of the land. We became very accustomed to our setup in Detroit, so it took a little bit of getting our feet wet today, but we once kind of practice gets going, it feels just like old habit for us.
Now, were you part of the team last year when you had the Colts at midseason? I love that one.
So I wasn't out in the field, but I worked on it back at NFL Films. So I was part of, got to see both sides. We have a whole team of people, similar like we do now, just putting stuff together. And then it's really real time as well, trying, turn games around, showing up on Sundays to go through footage and really kind of get that show turned around very quickly.
It was great. Awesome.
Pat Harris joining us from HBO Films. And I just... Whoever edited the Amon-Ra St. Brown segment last night when he's listing off every receiver in the school they went to and matching that up with the Commissioner Goodell announcing those names.
Well done.
Whoever did that, I just want to give a round of applause. Like, that was some of the best footage I've seen in a long time.
It is. I think we knew ahead of time, just from talking with him, that he has that chip on his shoulder and, had that. So getting him to sit down and kind of list off everybody, it makes for great TV. And I think you got a little glimpse of just how some of these guys are wired. They obviously say the Tom Brady being a 6th-round pick has been told a million times, but I think plenty of other guys feel the exact same way that he does and know probably everybody that went before them. So it was very cool, I think, to capture that on camera.
How about his dad, man? Mr. Universe. that guy is wired differently, man.
I think when one of our other directors met him, just knew right away, like he was meant for camera. He was meant for TV. He is awesome to be around. It's a very cool dynamic, just from a dad perspective. And then you add in that, he's a two-time Mr. Universe. He's meant for our show in a way.
Hey, we heard there might have been a little action at today's practice. Is that something that you could let us in on?
There is. It was nothing too crazy. I know the Patriots-Panthers has kind of been the viral action practice. That's been going. It was nothing crazy. I think both coaches from the get-go and even coordinators as well have emphasized that they need to get good reps in, and I think they like the intensity, but they don't want it to ruin ultimately what I know Coach Campbell said was an awesome and productive practice at the end of it. So I think they want to keep things flowing as best they can.
So you've done a couple Hard Knocks in the past, and compare the Detroit Lions to some other teams that you've done, and just the position that they're in, the growing stage that they're in, and how you're able to tell that story compared to like when you guys did the Cowboys, and it's kind of, they're already up and running.
Right.
Is it cooler to tell this like upstart story? Are you guys happy with that?
I personally am. I love, this feels very much like Cleveland when we were here, and not just because of location or anything, but the same where Cleveland had kind of this outside narrative, and we were there to it's almost just show the inside, workings of the building to say, yeah, people might think, this, and this on the outside, but in the inside, like, there are leaders there. They are building something good. And I think, we kind of caught Cleveland on the upswing of things. And hopefully that's the same with Detroit, in that, people can think what they want, but trying to introduce coaches, players of just, hey, there are people working really hard to kind of right this ship. And I think it gives us more of a chance to show some of those meetings and just raw emotion that are there as guys are, they're fighting for more than just, wins and stuff. They're fighting to change an entire, culture, change an entire organization. So I think that's fun for us as storytellers and filmmakers, that we're able to do that, where, it's just a different type of show with a team like the Cowboys. Or even with the Rams when we've done them in the past, just knowing they're kind of an established franchise, it just makes for a different dynamic.
That was a good one, that LA one, that the tale of the two teams, one moving, and that was a really great one. I mean, I'm a big fan of HBO and what they've done. NFL films, I've been watching it since I was a little kid with John Facenda and so on and so forth. Today I heard the owner of the Colts was handing out $100 bills, Jim Irsay. Did you guys catch any footage of that? Is that a first that you've seen?
That is a first. I actually saw him pull up and was like, did a double take of like, wait a second, is he doing what I think he's doing? And yeah, I guess he was. We might have gotten a couple shots of it. I'm trying to think of what cameras we had around there, but no, he was there, and it's crazy seeing the people, they love him here in Indy. So it was no, that is true. I saw that.
How about our guy Aiden Hutchinson? What do you see in him right now? I mean, we know what we got. He's a Michigan kid. We watched him grow up here. We see his family. You guys had great footage of his family in the stands at Ford Field. What's your take on Aiden Hutchinson? You've seen a lot of players in your day, a lot of rookies, first-round picks. What do you think of Aiden Hutchinson?
Well, he had a really good practice today. I know Aaron Glenn had a lot of praise for him during all different periods, individual and team periods. So I'm just amazed by his motor. He goes. I mean, it is nonstop, chasing after plays as we saw in our previous show. But I think it's the size and speed, the bend that he has. It definitely feels different than some other defensive lineman that you're able to see. So you can tell just his physical gifts are there. And then typically when you combine that with his effort, it's kind of hard to. It's kind of can't miss in a lot of ways. So he has been as advertised, I think, as a number 2 overall pick.
That's great to hear.
You guys did a great job highlighting that in the first episode too, because when I saw him just hitting those practice bags with the ferocity that he was, I was like, oh my God, this guy's taking just this bag drill very, very seriously. So that was really cool to see. I'm not sure how much you can let us know about the secret sauce with all of this, but a guy like David Blau, do you have an idea that, hey, going in, we want to feature him and his wife in the Olympic thing from last year? That's a cool story. But then when he has a game on Friday and fumbles the ball, is it like, okay, we got to make this guy a bigger part of the story now? Does that, like if you mess up like that, does it put the spotlight on you a little bit more?
Just worked out, I think.
Not necessarily. I think
Okay.
we don't want to, pile on and just say, hey, you mess up or we're going to get you. I think we knew coming in kind of the backstory with him. And I think ultimately the way shows always work, quarterbacks are, in the preseason games especially, they have the ball in their hands every time. So they're always naturally, much easier to cover. We're always going to have content for them, where sometimes different positions, if they don't get on the field or they don't get any balls thrown their way, it makes it a little bit more challenging. So we knew kind of coming in that he was definitely a character. And I think he has such a unique story, with his wife and just kind of the dynamic they have, that for us, it was like, hey, we've never really seen anything like this before, with just 2 professional athletes, that are married and have such a unique relationship. So I think going in, our plan all along was, I think, to feature that story regardless of kind of what unfolded in the game, and unfortunate, how it ended.
because the conspiracy theory me and some of the boys have in the back is, listen, they haven't highlighted anybody that's going to get cut yet. And you gotta build them up so when they do get cut, it actually means something to the viewer. And we're like, Blau, it may be that guy. And so I'm like I think
it's Boyle.
You think it's Boyle?
Yeah.
And we'll see with all of that. So yeah, that's kind of the conspiracy theory we've been throwing around here. I know you probably can't go into that, but either way, what you guys are doing and how you're presenting this team as a diehard fan, man, being able to see behind the curtain like this, it's really phenomenal.
Well, that's what we'd love to hear. I think that makes our job, like I said, when I was on last week, it makes our job more exciting. It's more rewarding. I think when we see such a fan base that just loves having us around and loves, kind of showing the content that we're putting out there. So I think hopefully we can keep the momentum going after, two good episodes to start. But it's definitely been fun. I think it's been, everything we were expecting and probably a little bit more, with just how great the team's been, and even players, even being out in Indy and knowing we're familiar with a lot of people here, I think Detroit is definitely unique for us.
Hey, Pat, last thing. Stick had a good observation. Now, I know you're having the Cardinals at midseason. Did you ever guys think of maybe following the same team and seeing where they're at later on in the season? We would have loved. I mean, because we're probably never going to see you guys again here in Detroit. We wanted to keep you a little bit longer. You think something like that might happen down the line?
So I was actually a part of the crew that it was back in 2016. We did Hard Knocks with the Rams with Jeff Fisher.
Yep.
And then we stayed on for All or Nothing. And they had a very rough go-around with it.
Yeah.
So it depends. If it's a great season, I think teams definitely are fine with us being around. I think sometimes it's tough. They almost get a little sick of us. And, almost too familiar with faces staying that whole year. So I think it was something we tried. I don't know if we were jumping to do it again. But I think this in-season now is just going to be – it's a whole different story, different dynamic and everything. So I probably won't be back for training camp Hard Knocks with Detroit, but I could very much see us back for in-season with how, great the team's been and just kind of – welcomed us with open arms. We always want to be around teams like that.
Thanks, Pat. We appreciate you. Hopefully we'll talk next week.
Oh, one more thing before you go, Pat. Last week, YouTube gave us a strike for using a little bit of the Aiden Hutchinson. Can you go and let them know, hey, this dispute is canceled. We're good on that.
Yeah.
Can you help us out here at Woodward Sports?
For crying out loud.
I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for highlighting the city of Detroit, the players. It means a lot for this city, so thank you, guys.
Awesome. No problem, guys. Look forward to talking to you again.
See you, Pat.
See you, Pat. And yeah, obviously.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I think we're in.
I hope so, man. I want that strike lifted. Damn it, that pissed me off.
I know.